Donald Trump caused a big stir this week when he said he wasn't ready to endorse House Speaker Paul Ryan or Senator John McCain for their re-election bids. But in a few hours, Ryan is expected to get the backing of the Republican presidential nominee. Sources tell Fox News Trump's going to endorse the speaker at his rally tonight in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yesterday, Ryan appeared on a radio show and suggested his own endorsement of Trump isn't written in stone.
None of these things are ever blank checks. That goes with any situation in any kind of race. But right now, I just think it's important that the voters, you know, he won the delegates. He won the thing fair and square. It's just that simple. We just came out of our convention, and yeah, he's had a pretty strange run since the convention. You would think that we ought to be focusing on Hillary Clinton, on all of her deficiencies.
Paul Ryan and others have been encouraging Trump to get back on message, and it appears he may have just done that at a rally in Iowa a few moments ago.
We're going to be talking about the queen of corruption. Hillary Clinton lacks the judgment, temperament, and moral character to lead this country. She is a dangerous liar. I was the first one, I believe, to use the word unfit in referring to her. Now they pick it up and they use it on me. I always thought that I was extremely fit. In fact, all of my life I've been told, you have the greatest temperament. If we don't pull this off, I'm blaming Iowa. If we don't pull this off, I'm going to say I wasted a lot of money, time, and energy. That I can tell you.
All right, a lot to unpack there, Dana. Let's start with the endorsements. Back and forth with the two of them, Ryan and Trump. Are we going to finally see a little unity?
I don't know. I think that I think what Trump did earlier this week, to me, either said that the instincts were off or the strategy was off or the consultation with Pence was off or something. It was not good. And also, this comes after, remember Ryan said, this about 2 months ago, he said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And he's like, he gets there. And he says, okay, I'm in, and I'm going to endorse him. And then Trump did that to him. And it was like, well, okay, well, my endorsement is not a blank check either. And it reminded me of when Ryan was saying that in the soundbite about how things could change. Remember when Todd Akin in Missouri, the Senate candidate, said the ridiculous thing about rape? And almost all Republicans, including opinion journalists here at the network, were like, whoa, okay, we're done with that guy. Like, you are not on our list anymore, because things could change and things happen that way. The thing about the Trump endorsement tonight of Ryan is that I actually think it helps Trump more than it helps Ryan. Donald Trump lost Ryan's district in Wisconsin by 17 points. Paul Ryan is up 66 points over his primary challenger in his district. So when Trump said he was not quite there yet, quite a diss to Ryan, it was like, well, that just means that you don't want to win Paul Ryan's district in Wisconsin. If you want to win Wisconsin, you would have to win that district. So I think that actually probably at this point Trump's trying to help himself more than he is trying to help Ryan, and Ryan doesn't really need his help in his district.
Dana points out that Donald Trump, I think he actually used the same words. Didn't he say, I'm not quite there yet, which is what Paul Ryan said about endorsing Donald Trump. So what do you think?
Well, by the way,
is this some unity?
The use of the language I took as mocking Paul Ryan.
Yeah, of course.
And so I thought he was playing games. He felt, look, you know what, I'm the nominee. Paul Ryan's like a puppet on a string. You come along with me because you're the establishment guy, and I will Eric Cantor you. Remember what happened to Eric Cantor in Virginia? Remember what happened to John Boehner? You know what? If you don't play along with the revolution from the grassroots of the GOP, you will be out. And guess what? You know, I think this is so clear now that Paul Ryan didn't back down. Paul Ryan didn't take away his endorsement, but he did say, as you played in the tape, Eric, it's nothing as a blank check. And I don't think it was so much that he was saying, I want to pull my endorsement of our nominee, the GOP nominee, so much as he was saying, listen, you are doing some things that are not only damaging to your effort, you are now damaging the Republican Party and down-ballot candidates. So Dana's number about Paul Nealon, the guy running against Ryan, it's not a contest. It's not even close. It's not like, oh, Donald Trump's word is going to make a big difference in that race. That's in Donald Trump's head.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Trump thought he was going to endorse Nealon and he would beat Paul Ryan.
I hope not, because that's not realistic.
It just feels like Donald Trump was using, well, he feels like he was just using a little bit of leverage, playing a little game, and at the last minute comes through and ends up endorsing him. Look, I don't know. On message, does he get back on message now, attacking Hillary Clinton, and that's the one everyone wants him to do?
And not only just getting on message and attacking Hillary Clinton, but how he attacks her. I mean, this idea that he thinks he's going to win over independent voters by by calling Hillary Clinton names, even Crooked Hillary, which is an accurate description of her, I don't think is really going to change a lot of people's minds, because both sides have decided that both candidates are untrustworthy, that they're both somewhat corrupt, and that's not the argument they're going to go for. They're going to say, how is Donald Trump or how is Hillary Clinton going to help me and my family? But going back to what Juan said about Paul Ryan, the Republican Party for the last probably 4 years has actually done a lot of really hard work, especially in Ohio, reaching out to the communities that they didn't win over in the 2012 and 2008 elections, minorities, women. And Paul Ryan, with his statement about not issuing a blank check, isn't pulling his endorsement, but I think he's trying to make it clear to everyone throughout the country that Donald Trump's statements are Donald Trump statements and not a reflection or statements of the Republican Party, because he doesn't want the brand to be as damaged as it could be, especially if Donald Trump loses.
So Dana points out that the Donald Trump endorsement of Paul Ryan is good for Donald Trump. Is it good for Paul Ryan?
Well, I don't think any of this matters. I mean, I think that it's a little bit of silliness. I think Trump, he was teasing him. They're poking each other. You know, I mean, Ryan poked back with his, you know, he's had a kind of a strange run. Ryan didn't have to say that. So I think these guys like doing this. It's a little bit of a macho thing, but I don't think it moves any votes. I think the only problem for Trump is he shouldn't be talking about Ryan. He should be talking about Hillary. You know, and he was talking about Ryan the other day when he said, I'm just not there yet, and that was the story. And then now that he's, you know, I think he should just say, yeah, I'm endorsing him. Now I'm going to attack Hillary. I mean, the less he talks about Ryan, the better.
I can't tell you, yeah.
I just want to disagree with that. The Ryan thing is different, I think, because Ryan is so far ahead in his district. He's won that district every term since, I don't know, 1994 or something. Like, it's been a long time. So he always wins that district, and that's his. To lose, he would never lose it. But Senators Ayotte and McCain and a few others are actually in a lot of trouble in their district, in their states. So New Hampshire being one of them, where I thought that Donald Trump would actually perform a lot better there, but the recent polls are that he's down by 9 or 11 points. Guess who else is down 9 or 11 points? The incumbent senator, Kelly Ayotte. If you really care about the future of conservatism and you want to make sure, if you care about the Supreme Court, you have to have Republican majority in the Senate. And if all of these senators are going to go down as the ticket continues to go down, then you're not going to have any of that. So maybe Ryan doesn't matter, but not supporting those other candidates is a problem.
So can we talk about this a little bit? I know they want to move on to the next soundbite, but this is one of the things that I keep hearing. If Donald Trump loses badly, it's going to be bad down ticket. It's going to be horrible down ticket. But there's not a lot of proof of that. I mean, there was a stat that someone pointed out to me yesterday or day before yesterday that 2 times a party has won 49 out of 50 states. And both of those times, that's a landslide in the presidential election. Yeah. Both of those times, the Senate only moved by 2 seats.
Yeah, I mean, and that would be a good outcome for the Republicans at this point. But I think that the way it was described to me is that for the last 3 months or so, the National Republican Senatorial Committee has said, well, it looks pretty good, actually. You know, like everything around us is saying, you know, we should change our course, change our direction, but the numbers on the ground, our senators are doing well. That includes Portman in Ohio, Toomey in Pennsylvania, even Ayotte up until recently. The numbers this week in those state-by-states are really troubling for them. And I'm just, if Donald Trump wants to be the head of the Republican Party, he can't just run for himself. That's why I just said that the instinct or the strategy to not endorse Ryan or to sort of play this like word games and sort of mock him, make fun of him. It might be this kind of silliness, but it actually is having real-world impact for people that are working hard to elect.
Well, just one last thought on this. Why I don't think it's silliness is because really what we're having this week is a debate among Republicans. So as an outsider, let me just say, what you see in the poll numbers is that Republicans are buying off Donald Trump. So let's say you're a Republican who wants to vote for the Republican nominee, Tom. I think in some cases you might say, you know what, I'm uncomfortable with Trump, so maybe I just don't go to vote.
That's again, I had a big old fight with a congressman from Pennsylvania last night on that issue. He said, I can't endorse Donald Trump. And I turned to him on air and I said, but Pennsylvania went, every single district in Pennsylvania went Donald Trump. He won every single one in a primary, of course. But this guy represents the district, right?
He also won New Hampshire.
This is a bad precedent where Republicans are saying, I don't agree with Donald Trump fighting with McCain or Ryan, therefore
or
I'm not going
who might lose a Senate seat in a state that he won the primary in.
Katie, the next president is going to put at least 1, maybe up to 3 Supreme Court justices federal
and as Dana
judges
said, he can't do it without a GOP-controlled Senate. Well, so we'll see what happens.
But so why wouldn't you just vote for the Republican then?
Because
you have to blindly vote for the, you just have to, or you're going to get a Hillary.
Oh, let me just say, what did the paragon of conservatism, Mr. Ted Cruz, say at your convention? Vote your conscience.
Yeah, well,
in other words,
another
some
one.
people,
That's no good.
Eric, are thinking, you know what? My conscience can't abide someone who behaves.
Anyone know the Buckley rule?
I can't trust my conscience.
Anyone know the Buckley rule? You know the Buckley
Is that right?
You know the
I told
Buckley
you
rule.
to keep your hands to yourself. What?
You know the Buckley rule, right?
Yes.
Do you know the Buckley rule?
Yes. But
Yes.
but this guy apparently can't win if you look at the polls.
The most conservative candidate is the one you're supposed to vote
No.
Is that what we did?
No. The one who can win.
not what
Most
happened.
conservative.
Is that what we did?
I don't know.
No.
What?
Is that what we did? I mean,
What?
this is the most conservative candidate that can win?
You have two.
No.
You have a choice of two. It's either Hillary Clinton
No,
or
well,
Donald
that's
Trump.
not the. No, the Buckley rule is about supporting the Republican, like the most Republican, the conservative
Well, that's
Republican.
what we have.
Who
That's
can
what we
win?
got.
Who
That's
can
what
win?
we have. We have one.
If that's the case, you would
We
have
have
John
one.
Kasich. You might have Jeb Bush. No.
So you have to weigh this. You have to weigh this, Katie. I'll throw it to you. You have to weigh, yes, federal judges and Supreme Court justices on one hand, or I just don't like the way he talks to other people.
It's not about. It's not just about the way he talks to other people. It's about the fact that his policies actually don't line up with a lot of conservative principles that have been espoused for generations and actually upheld the capitalist society that has brought people out of freedom. I mean, I think I wrote when Donald Trump won the primary. I wrote a column about how this is not a race about Republicans versus Democrats. It's not Republican nominee versus Democrat nominee. This is now another Democrat primary 2.0. This is Donald Trump, who has lots of policies that line right up with Bernie Sanders and who has supported people like Hillary Clinton for life. Hillary Clinton, and their policies are very similar.
It is somewhat interesting to look at the conundrum that people are in. So if you are somebody who warned early on about the possibility of Trump not being able to win in a general election, now you're being blamed for the result of showing that, oh, you were right.
That's not what I'm saying.
It's going to be hard, but that's maybe not you, but that is.
I'm saying if you're a Republican, you don't vote for the Republican because you don't like the way his attitude is,
or maybe you don't feel his principles are.
And you don't vote. You're in essence electing Hillary, and you got to.
Can I just make one quick?
But if he can't, if this is his to lose. And that's what I was saying last night on the O'Reilly Factor with you, is that the bad press is not just stuff that is just happening to him. He is making it happen. Now, he can change. We're going to have a chance to talk about what else could he do. How could he get back on offense and put Hillary back on her heels? There are ways that you can do that, but it's just been a really tough 3 weeks since the convention.
No doubt.
And here's what it looks like to me, is that he's running for himself. And he's actually running against the Republican Party and sticking his finger in their eye at every opportunity.
That may be the case, but at this point in the game, you
have no choice.
You don't.
In other words, to hell with the Republicans who have been laboring all these years and decades.
You don't have them. They're gone. They're not one of the choices.
As people have been saying for months,
bilateral choice.
It is up to Donald Trump to unify the party. And it's very clear at this point that he's now endorsing Paul Ryan because it's beneficial to him and because it made him look like, as Juan just said, that he's only in it for himself. It's up to the nominee to make sure that everyone is behind him to negotiate in a way that gets people onto his team. And he has made it impossible for many Republicans in these tough districts, in these tough states, to do that because they cannot afford to be tied to the things he said and the policies
and they
he's
don't get a
supported.
pass on the, he gets a pass in the press from a lot of things. Sometimes what he says is so hilarious, like it's really funny in the press, that gives him a pass. But if you're Kelly Ayotte in New Hampshire and if you said something like that, like you would be buried. Like he's unique. He is able to be a politician unlike any other. But he wants to lead a party of politicians that are actually they're just like we're regular people.
Okay, I think they're wrapping me, but I can't hear a thing in my ear right now. All right, later this hour, we'll be taking your questions on the presidential race. Please go to our Facebook page. Post them now, facebook.com/the5FNC.